Yo, what's up? This is Renz. That's Why I Left Religion with Coach Renz. Cam asked a very good question, and I was going to do this as a 3-minute TikTok video, but it takes too long to answer this question, because the reason why there are so many different denominations and variations and doctrines and imaginations of religions is politics, is cultural, is power, is race. It's all these different things that culminate over time that creates the different interpretations, which creates the different doctrines, which create different religions. We're going to try to hit historically some of those reasons and rationales and give you the examples of why you have so many. And we're going to stick with Christianity, because we can and just take the idea of Christianity and put that in Islam, put that in Hinduism, Buddhism. Hell, Buddhism is an offspring of Hinduism, and then Sufi as well, and Jainism, and what's the other one I'm thinking about? Oh, the Taoism. All those are offsprings of Hinduism and or Buddhism, and they're just different denominations. So let's start breaking some of it down. The first one that we're going to talk about is culture. Culture can change a religion. Religions do not go by the book that they actually adhere to. They actually go by the culture of the day. You see, if the Jewish people of Jesus's time would have maintained Christianity just within their realm, then you would not have seen all the Roman aspects of Christianity. But once the Romans took over Christianity, 325 is when it somewhat began to be more strong, because the government now became involved. When it was just Paul and other people teaching in the Roman theater outside of Jewish people teaching the Gentiles, yeah, some different thoughts went to play. And understand, in all of this, the mentality of the person who's teaching it will change the doctrine as well. But when the Romans start taking over, especially after 480, when Theodosius made it the religion of Rome, you begin to see the inclusiveness of Serapis, the inclusiveness of Kemetic teachings, the inclusiveness of like your evergreen tree from the Norse people. And you see so many other inclusiveness because they're homogenized or syncretizing the religion based on what the people already knew and what they were already doing to make it more familiar to them, right? Many people already believed in a trinity from their previous religion, so they incorporated a trinity for Christianity. Prior to 325, you didn't have a trinity, but the cultures that became Christian began to change it to fit something more along the lines of what they were already teaching. If this was the Greeks, they have the term Hellenization. Is when they Hellenize a people, taking whatever their culture is and mixing it with the Greek culture, and then syncretizing it in that way. This is where you get Serapis, when the Ptolemies took over Egypt. So culture has a big portion to play. As we move through time, we go from, if the culture of how women dress was very, what's the word I'm looking for? It was very modest in Western Europe in the 1800s. But as we progress to the 1900s and to our current realm, the dress is less modest. Women didn't have jewelry, didn't wear a lot of jewelry, maybe a string of pearls. But now we wear jewelry, and we don't look at the fact that your Bible actually tells you not to be adorned with all these gold and all these kind of things, and your hair and how you wear your hair. And then your hair is a covering for your crown as a woman. But now a woman can go to church and be super Christian and be slap bald headed, and without it being something like alopecia. It's just, you know, what she wants to wear and what's common and known in the culture of the day. So our culture has a big indicator on why we have so many denominations. And politically, as the political winds change, those things also change cultures, change the religion. Politically, which also includes race, for the example that I'm going to give. When Europeans were taking America, what you saw was the racism of, if you're not white, then you're not right. So black people, Native American people could not worship the same way as the white people or in the same congregations. therefore the messaging started to become different. In the black churches, especially in the 1800s and earlier, even the 1900s and earlier, it was more about, you know, Jesus is coming, heaven is coming, we're suffering through, we're going to keep suffering, and we're going to be rescued, like the children of Egypt were rescued from God, and, you know, we just have to hold on to God's unchanging hand, and all these kind of messaging. Revelations was a big teaching tool for black churches, because you are an oppressed people, whereas you look at the white churches, it's totally different teachings. It was more about the prosperity of the people, prosperity of teaching and going out and making other people, you know, they get their whole manifest destiny from that. But even well before then, big examples. King James wanted to control England, did not like the Pope having power over England, so he converted England into Protestantism. The Pilgrims wanted to have a more pure form of Christianity as far as what they believe, so they left and came to America. Martin Luther believed that the Catholic Church, in giving out indulgences that people could just pay for, hey, I want to go and commit some sin, let me just pay the church so that my sin can be forgiven before I do it, or even right after I do it. He believed that that was the incorrect teaching of the Bible. So although he wasn't there to change and create Protestantism, he wanted to reform the Catholic Church. It ended up creating Protestantism. And because some people say, well, instead of submerging people, as a Baptist would say, the Methodists say all you got to do is sprinkle with some water. So different doctrinal changes like that, based on the culture of the people, creates more and more denominations. John Smith was about to be indicted for polygamy, and even more polygamy with minors, and so he created Mormonism for his own reasons. And people, but a Mormon would say that's not the reason, but they would say he just received divine inspiration. But truth be told, historically, he was up for prosecution. So he created a whole new type of Christianity based on Jesus coming to the Americas and teaching and talking to the native people here. So we have politics in there. Money and control creates many different religions. When you have situations where someone wants to separate their finances from everybody else's, and they don't want to pay into the Catholic Church, so they create their own religion. When governments or monarchies especially want to control their population, they create their own version of their religion. But the biggest one is people reading the same book but getting different interpretations from what they're reading. And we find this in every religion. So the reason why you have different denominations is because people live differently. People want different control over their small plot of land. People want to control other people. And then there's racism. I don't want to worship with you, even though I'm supposed to be teaching love. I don't want to worship with you because I'm black and you're white. You know, I'm Indian and you're Pakistani. So we have those different variations that come about because of culture, because people want to do what they want to do. They want to live how they want to live. And they want their religion to conform to their culture and how they currently live. They don't want to conform to the religion. If you did, then in order to make somebody a priest, you would have to go through the sacrificing of animals, splashing their blood on the priest, splashing their blood on the altar in order for you to become a priest. A priest would only be able to marry a virgin. In almost every case, there are a couple of stipulations that allows them to marry someone who's not a virgin. But you would have all these kind of things that you would still be upholding to. And you can't say, well, Jesus was a sacrifice. No, Jesus wasn't a sacrifice for ordaining ministers. And then only people from, I believe, Aaron's line, the Levites, they would be the only ones who could be ministers, and no one else could be. But you would say that, well, it says that your sons and daughters will prophesy and all these sorts of things. So there's some contradictory things that you would jump onto and hold on to because you want to live it how you want to live it. You don't want to have to know the bloodlines to be able to say who can be a priest and who cannot be a priest. Polygamy is not allowed in America, so we ignore all the scriptures about polygamy, teaching you how to do it. Slavery is now finally something that most of the world condemns, but we don't want to talk about that. Slavery is okay in your Bible. You know, it's perfectly fine as long as you're not slaving someone of your own group. You can hold them forever. So that's the reason And it goes a lot deeper as to why we have different denominations.